As a part of my A2 coursework evaluation, I will compare the products we created, which is a documentary, a radio advert, and a double-page spread for a TV listing, to real media text. The title of the documentary is Fast Food Generation, and we focus on how fast food can affect teenagers in terms of their health and their academic performance. Our primary target audience are teenagers aged 15 to 19, regardless of gender identity, and our secondary target audience are parents and teachers, as we thought they might be interested in the topic as well. I will compare our documentary opening to Super Size Me documentary. The first thing I want to focus on is the use of experts. So this is a clip from our documentary, which is a part of an interview with one of our experts, Charlotte. She's a health and social teacher. And this is a clip from a real product. Both of the interviews use the existing codes and conventions by including the expert name and their profession at the bottom of the frame. In our documentary, we used a medium close-up shot and chose the gym as a location for a mise-en-scène to link it to expert's profession, and the real interview also uses a medium close-up and changes the shot to medium shot and a close-up, which is something we haven't done, and upon reflection I think we should have changed the shots a bit to make it a bit more interesting. Our expert interviews follow the kinds of conventions the same as the real documentary did. We filmed vox pops of students in college. We chose mise-en-scène location just outside of a brick wall, so we had a plain, consistent background. Now upon reflection I think we could have used the location that kind of shows that we were in college in sixth form more, so like we could do it in front of the sign, maybe one of the vox pops, or more like in the canteens to again like link to the food theme as well. But that's the background we chose. In the real documentary they decided to go for mainly McDonald's in the Super Size Me for the vox pops, just because they were creating this kind of image of the average American being outside of McDonald's and the expert being like in the office in a more professional setting, which I think is a good thing. We could have filmed some of vox pops outside of McDonald's, but then again we just tried to target teenagers and our target audience. That was who we were focusing on, and those people we could just easily find at college and ask them some questions. Something we could have done, which we haven't, is film vox pops with our secondary audience, which would be teachers or parents. I think they'll give a broader perspective and maybe kind of shift the representation a bit, so there wouldn't be such a big contrast between the students and the teachers, and who were also our experts. But basically we again followed the convention of using vox pops. For our documentary title we decided to write it on a whiteboard and added the letters together to create an interesting effect. I think compared to the more professional simple title of the real documentary, it made our documentary look more maybe amateur and homemade, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of our titles that we used were just kind of plain still title over an image, or as well like the intro with our names. So I think that kind of made it a bit more dynamic, because it moves and it changes and you have the little like border thing, and the question at the end I think actually looks pretty good. Conventionally in documentaries some archival footage would be used. However, in our documentary we didn't use any archival footage and we filmed all of the clips ourselves, as we didn't really find it useful to explaining our point. However, upon reflection, I think that including archival footage and using that convention could have helped and improved the documentary, as we could include more experts like Jamie Oliver, for example, or more diverse shot types or websites like McDonald's website or NHS website to better maintain interest, to maybe improve some more perspective. In Super Size Me, it was mainly used to show medical case studies, the lawsuits, the McDonald's website, so I think we should have used this convention. We didn't use it. We didn't challenge it, we just didn't use this convention, which I think we should have done. But then again, we did manage to explain a point without using archival footage, and that was what made us not use it in the first place. Also because we had a lot of interview and vox pops that we really wanted to use in a documentary, so there was not much space to fit archival footage in. Use of mise-en-scène in the documentary obviously creates meaning, shows the genre, the topic. You can see that in our opening clip, which is the McDonald's opening shot. We chose the location for a mise-en-scène to film this opening shot, as it links directly to the title and the topic of the documentary being fast food. And here is a clip from the Super Size Me Real documentary that used the exact same technique pretty much, which we kind of got inspired by. And there is a McDonald's in the background and people walking by being sped up, which is something we've done as well, just in a bit of different shot and angle, maybe looking a bit more interesting, people actually walking in and out of McDonald's, not just walking past. Another parts of mise-en-scène that can be mentioned are costumes, which can be seen with our sports teacher wearing an actual sports kit and students wearing casual clothes. Whereas in the actual real documentary, we can see that, for example, when the filmmaker is speaking to doctors, they're wearing the doctor attire and in the costumes, you could say. We also use props, which were McDonald's meals and packaging, as well as oil, sugar, soda, and different containers to put the oil in and do the statistics and everything. Here are the clips from those. We use them to create the meaning again, do some visual representation of what we're saying, and also make the documentary more interesting and keep viewers' attention, because for example, when the interview of Maxine is playing, in part of it we use the props that were filmed to kind of play over the interview, to have her opinion and have this visual, more like fast-paced representation of just someone speaking in front of the camera, which can get a bit boring. This is a real documentary clip, and you can see that they also use props, which are again McDonald's meal and also different containers and things like that. There's no clear codes and conventions for documentaries in relation to mise-en-scène. However, it's a code and convention to just really pay attention to the mise-en-scène and make sure that it reflects the topic and what you're trying to say, and it would help the audience decode the preferred meaning reading of the documentary. So I think that way both documentaries follow this convention and use it to, again, convey the meaning. In our double page spread, we used the question, what is the real price of fast food, as our headline, as it's a question using all of our products, linking them all together. The common convention for documentary TV listing is using the documentary title as headline. However, we challenged this convention as we thought that the question would be more interesting and catch readers' attention. Both our and the real product headline is big and bold, located at the top of the left page. However, ours take up the whole top of the page, whereas in the Erica and me double page spread, it's on the left, slightly overlapping with the main image. Both double page spreads follow the conventions of having a big, bold main headline that catches readers' attention. The main image is how we developed the conventions, because instead of using one big main image, probably a still from the documentary, we used many small pictures from the documentary showing fast food and edited it all together to create the main image, which was also a background for the headline. We developed this convention of the main image. All the images show consistent connotation to McDonald's. It's a McDonald's logo and a group of teenagers leaving the fast food chain after a meal, as it's one of the main fast food chains known globally, and it clearly links to a documentary title and gives the reader a better idea of what to expect from the documentary. We used the convention of using stills from the documentary's images, and we developed the convention of the main image being just a one big picture, whereas we used many small pictures and turned them into one main image. The other double page spread pretty much follows the convention. However, the images they used do not come from the documentary itself. Eric and Ernie, which is the people that the documentary is about, they are well known already, so using their pictures and all the pictures is kind of more appropriate for this type of double page spread. However, in ours, we just needed to focus on the topic of the documentary and clearly showing what it's going to be about. It's a convention of double-page spread articles to use quotes from the actual product. Both our and the real double-page spread use this convention to break down the bulk of the article, as well as hopefully catch readers' attention and make them interested in the documentary. We also try to create the effect of binary opposites, as the two quotes that we used were from two different experts from a documentary, and they both present a contrary view. As one of those quotes says, the fast food is very negative, it's very negative for our performance. That's a quote from Charlotte. The other quote says, it's very hard to avoid fast food, and it's from our other expert. And I think using both of those quotes can suggest that the documentary is objective in some way, and that it's going to present different viewpoints. We can say that the real products use a similar technique, as one of the quotes is funny and it's linking to the comedy nature of the Duet Christmas special. However, the other one points at the serious pressure and issues they face, which is also a topic of the documentary, and I think that also can be linked to binary opposites theory. Both double-page spreads have used the convention of using quotes from the documentary, and I think we also kind of developed it by creating this kind of binary opposites situation with different experts having different opinions and us showing that in the article. Time, date and channel that the documentary is going to be aired at. In our double page spread, the information is located at the bottom right side of the page, and it includes the documentary title, which is Fast Food Generation, the channel, time and the date that it would be played on. The information is big and noticeable so that the reader can clearly see when and where they can see the documentary. In the real media text, the same information is very small and subtle. It's located below the subheading. The font is bold and the information can be seen. However, because of how small it is, I think reader could easily miss it. Codes and conventions were kind of used in both of the double page spreads, because both of them include the time and the date and all the information. However, you could say that ours kind of developed it because we decided to make it very noticeable, a very big part of the double page spread, whereas in the other one they made it really small, which might be because the documentary is already kind of advertised enough, so people would be willing to kind of look for the information, whereas in our double page spread we had to make sure that the reader can see when the documentary is going to be airing, and it's what catches their attention when they open the article. Using a drop cap letter is just a common convention of articles. We use it at the beginning of the article to highlight where it starts, and it's just clearly following the constant conventions. The same thing was done in the real double page spread. However, they used the drop cap more in the middle of the article, whereas we used it at the beginning. But both double page spread just follow the conventions and don't use or challenge it in many ways.